So by now, if you follow these steps, you should be familiar with how to do a CRUD function in Java using JDBC. So next one is we are going to update the changes that we make here. So I'm going to quickly do that. So the update, first of all, I'm going to create a function for that. So while you make an update, the things that you need is the primary key to identify the row, then the other details. So I am here just so here I am getting the ID, name and campus as parameters for the method update student. Now I'm going to implement it. So it is going to be similar to the one that we used for add student. So I'm copying it and pasting down here. Okay, and so here also we are going to use prepare statement. Just SQL statement is the different one. Update student, then set then the fields, the name and the campus. So here I have only two fields, so I am selecting them here, and finally the where clause to identify the row. So where ID equal to question mark, and here also there's a minor change. This ID will come as the last parameter. If you see the order, first is the name, second is the campus, third is the ID. So that's it. This is the SQL statement that we want to execute here, and all the other things are same. So I just made the order of this parameter setting and the execution. So that's it. Now let's create a servlet here. Right click on it. I am naming it as update student. Okay, it is also going to be similar to this add student servlet. Only thing is I am not updating the module details here, so I am just copying up to this part. And copying up to this part and removing this. So if you look at this get student JSP, so the name for the fields are same as the one I have given for in this add student JSP, so no need to worry about this. ID, name, campus. So here I'm going to give the action is update student. So this is the servlet that we want to forward this request, update student, and in this update student the ID is retrieved, name and the campus. Okay, and here in place of this implementing this in place of calling this add student, I am calling update student, and ID here I am changing it as SID, just as here, and all the other things are same here. And one more thing I am adding is the dispatcher. So once the update is done, I want it to display the list student JSP, so I can view the changes. List student, Okay, done. So now let's run this again and see. Okay, this is the list. So I'm going to update, make modification to this first student. So I'm clicking this edit button and changing his name and updating it. Something went wrong. Let's see what went wrong here. So I think something went wrong here. Okay. Okay, it's a useful mistake because this is the one I wanted to tell you. Earlier I said I'm giving the value here. Unlike here, I didn't give any value here because see, in this student, this first student, I didn't modify his campus detail. Just I made change to his name. Okay, now let's have a look at the second student, and here I change his campus to he's already in Malabi. Now I'm changing him to Metro and updating it. See, here is no problem. The problem is if I don't make any change here, once this form is submitted without making any change to this campus detail, here this options value will be taken, the first one, because I didn't make any change here. So by default, if I didn't give any value here, just like I did here, this add student, if I don't give any value here and just displaying it, see what happens. I am editing now this student again, and this time I am editing his name only and updating it. See, nothing, because there is nothing. That's the reason, null. So it gets this value, it refers this value, this say drop down list, but it doesn't hold any value behind it. That's the reason why passing it it's getting null. That's the reason I put the value to this option 2, the value of the default of the value of the current campus of that student. So in case if there is any modification, that's all right. If you don't make any modification to his campus detail, then it will take this default value. That's the reason I have given value. So now okay, let's go and now change things now. Malabi and updating it, it's updated, and I'm going to edit his detail to Metro and updating it, so it's updated. So there you go, the update works. So we have one more CRUD function left, the delete. So let's see how that works next. So we are down to the last CRUD function, that is delete. So for delete, here I have made a button for that in this list student JSP. Now first of all, I am going to define a function for that. So the delete operation won't return anything, so it's a void, public void, and the name is delete student, and in the parameter I am passing the student ID because the primary key is the one we need for delete function. So okay, now I'm going to implement it. So let's implement this delete function. So it's so similar to this one. Okay, I am removing these things. I don't need those. Then here is the change. So before performing a delete, make sure that the record you delete is in the table. The table is an independent table. That means it is not referenced by any other table for foreign key. So if you have to delete the record that is in the table that refers the table that you are going to delete. So here in this database there's a table called student modules that is a representation of many relationship between the student and modules. So you can't just delete a student record straight away. Before that you have to remove the record in the student modules table, the records which are related with the student ID that you are going to delete. Then only you can delete the record from the student table. So first of all I am going to delete the records related with the student ID that I am going to delete from the students module table. So for the delete function, the statement looks like this: delete from the table name modules where std student ID is equal to the ID that I am going to delete. So this will erase off all the records related with this student ID that I am going to delete, and I have to execute it. Thereafter I am going to create another prepared statement to delete the student record where ID equal to this ID, the ID that is passed here. So that's it. Now let's go and create a servlet. Naming it as delete student, and in this list student JSP I am giving the action delete student. Now coming back to this delete student JSP servlet, so I'm gonna copy from the get student servlet and paste down here. Here I am going to make a few modifications. So I think I don't need these things for delete. Impl dot I am calling the delete function and passing this SID. So this SID is passed from that hidden field in that list student JSP. Here it is. So it's passed through this, and here I am calling the list delete student function by passing the student ID here retrieved as an argument. And after this I want once this delete functions is done, I want to redirect my page to list student.jsp. So I am giving a dispatcher for that, and I am copying down this and adding it to another place in the add student servlet 2. So once a new student is registered, the page will redirect to this list student JSP, So that's it. Now I'm going to see whether the delete function works or not. So I'm going to run this list student JSP. Okay, so I'm deleting this second record. Yes, it's deleted of the table, and I am deleting this one too. Yes, so it's an empty table, so no one is registered now. So the delete function also works fine. So that's it. So again I am telling that while doing this delete, make sure about that foreign key constraints. So make sure that you delete the related rows from the table with the foreign key, the child table, which is here the student modules, because it refers the student ID as a primary foreign key. Thereafter delete it from the main table, the parent table. Then only the delete will work without errors. So that's how the delete functions work. So we are done with these CRUD functions. We have one more part left, the report generation. So let's see that on the next video. Thank you.